Hello again. Guess what? Today I am in the new garage with the Ratty Lemans, and I got the 64 Impala over there kind of buried in stuff. But I figured today we could kind of go over the Lemans, see where we're at. We haven't touched it in a little while, so I kind of want to go over the whole thing, maybe make a list of things to do, and just kind of evaluate what needs to happen next. So let's get started.
All right, so I've made a list, and I've written it on a piece of 2x6, pressure treated, of course. Actually, notice I whacked my finger the other day. I smushed it real good. Anyways, first things first, the wipers. The wipers don't work. Neither does the wiper motor. Here's why. Over here, you can see this wiper blade is totally smoked. It is absolutely rusted, rotted, just absolutely disgusting. And the wiper arm is bent, so I need to straighten that out. And over here, you can see the wiper arm is actually touching the trim panel. Obviously not supposed to do that, so we got some issues there. All right, under the hood, we have the wiper motor, which you can see right there. You'll notice it's unplugged, and it's unplugged because when you plug it in, it makes all kinds of sparks and smoke and bad things. So I need to come up with a new wiper motor. Actually, preferably not new because I'm too cheap to buy a new one. I'm hoping to just find a used one that functions and doesn't make smoke and fire and sparks. So hopefully I can grab one of those someplace cheap on the internet and yeah, just kind of throw a used one in there and have it function. And then I can straighten out the wipers and hopefully have some wipers that sort of work. All right, next on the list is adjust the shifter. In the car, right now, this is in the off position. If I roll it forward and I move the shifter into a different gear, and then I try and roll this back again, it won't roll back. And that's because the shifter linkage that goes from the bottom of the steering column on the firewall down under the car to the frame and then over to the shifter, or really the transmission linkage, that needs to be adjusted. So I'm gonna need to get into the car and adjust that. It's probably not a big deal to do, but it is something I need to get done so that I can then turn the car off completely again. Because the way it sits now, it doesn't turn off. Seat belts. This car does not have any seat belts. Crazy, right? It originally did have seat belts, but when I got the car, it didn't come with any.
If you happen to know where I can get some cheap seat belts that are safe, but also in good shape, or like maybe even used, but just in good shape, I would definitely be interested in that.
Tires. So the tires on this car hold air, well, 3 out of 4 do, but they are super old and dry rotted and trashy. And the one on the driver's side front goes flat in like 2 days. Back over here at the back, you can see there's just giant cracks in the sidewall, and they don't have dates on them, which means that these tires are really old. I think they started putting dates on tires in like 1990 or something like that. In my case, no dates. So these tires are real old. Dash gauges. So the gauges in this car have overspray on them. I'm not really sure what the overspray is from, but needless to say, they are covered in overspray. So I need to take them apart, clean them, sort them all out, and then I need to hook them up to the LS engine, which I'm not really entirely sure of how I'm going to do just yet. I don't know if I'll end up getting an OBD2 type gauge set, or if I'll just kind of somehow hook up these gauges to the temp sensors and stuff on the engine, and who knows what. I'll figure that out. The rear window is a mess. Let's take a look. All right, so this rear window has flathead screws all the way around that don't belong there, and it is like basically sealed up with silicone or maybe some glue or something, and the metal you can see is like screwed up big time. Right here you can see Bondo flaking off. I could break this thing off right now if I wanted to. But basically what is happening is the rear deck is totally rotted out. It's really rotted under this area right here, which I guess is pretty common on like A-body cars from 68 to 72. And mine is especially bad. So what I really need to do is pull this glass out, replace the sheet metal, the rear deck panel, and probably this piece above it, and then weld it all back up, put it all back together. The thing is, you can't buy one of these rear decks for a 68 to 72 Pontiac. You can buy them for Chevelles, and I'm not sure if that's the same. So if you happen to know if the rear deck panel is the same between a Chevelle and a Le Mans / GTO, please let me know, because I need to get one. All right, the cooling system. I don't actually know where I left off on this car because it's been a few months, but I know I have this red wire here that I just kind of stuck in here with some tape on it, and I'm pretty sure that has to do with my fans, but I don't exactly know where I left off. I also know that my radiator's not mounted, and I just generally don't know if it cools itself. So one of the things I have to do is figure out if it's cooling, figure out the fans, and mount the radiator. The fuse box. So the fuse box, under the hood, this is the one I added for the LS swap right here. Now it's totally functional and it works and it's wired right, but I just hate it. I hate everything about it. I don't like how I wired it. I want to just do it all over again and start fresh. Maybe with like a nice Bussmann fuse panel or something like that. I'm not really sure yet. I don't know if I'll rewire it or not. It depends how much it ticks me off in the months ahead. But it's just something that's bothering me, and I would love to just start over and do it all over again. And then we have rot. Now, this car on the passenger side is actually not that bad. Front fender, not so bad. Door has a little hole in it right here. Quarter panel is mostly good on this side. It's just this rear drop-off that you can put your hand inside. Now, this has some Bondo in it, so I'd probably have to like cut it up here and replace the panel. Not too big of a deal.
Driver's side, totally trash. You can see right here, there's a giant hole right next to the wheel, and this whole section needs to be completely cut out. You can see over here, the trunk drop-off is absolutely trash. This whole quarter panel basically needs to be cut off and replaced. I'm not sure if I'm willing to spend the bazillion dollars on a new quarter panel, or if I will just maybe get the lower half, which is probably a lot less, and then just fix the sections I need to and replace the lower half. I'd probably have to replace some of the inner wheelhouse as well, or the outer wheelhouse, I mean. And yeah, that is going to be the biggest bodywork repair on this car. The rest of this side is a little bit better, but not great. Let's take a look. All right, we got the door. The door looks good. Rocker panel looks pretty good. Front fender, could be better. Might pass an inspection. I don't know. Maybe if I sandblasted it, primed it, painted it, whatever. There's some rust around here. This has some holes in it. All right, the front valance is like destroyed. I don't know if this thing went through the woods or what. This light is like bent backwards. There's just a giant rot hole right in the center of this part. And then that side of the valance, the light's facing the wrong direction, and it's all twisted up. It's like this thing was like a Dukes of Hazzard mobile flying through the air with the horn on. So, I'm gonna need to probably get a new one of those, or at least straighten that out as best I can and have it hold the lights properly. Anyways, that is sort of the long and short of where we're at with this car. Hopefully, I can knock off some of the things on this list in the near future. And yeah, maybe have this thing on the road in the springtime. If you happen to know where I can get some of the things on this list for a good price, or you just have information about it, I would love to hear more about it, especially that rear deck lid with the Chevelle versus the Le Mans. I'd love to know if they're interchangeable or not. I really don't know. I've done a little bit of research on it and I can't seem to find the answer, so hopefully one of you knows. You can let me know, and then I'll buy a rear deck and we'll cut the back half of the car up and we'll replace it, weld it all in, make it pretty again, make the rear window seal, and move on. So, anyways, be sure to subscribe if you're watching for the first time, and if not, tell a friend. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.